Like, I hate wasted potential. That shit crushes your spirit. It really does. It crushes your spirit.
Potential, having or showing the capacity to become or develop into something in the future. A word that can imply optimism, be scary, but also can be extremely sad. I've been trying to find out how I can make a video where I mostly just yap about all types of art that I'm passionate about. So yeah, it's a little structureless, but I think I figured it out with this one. It's pretty interesting to talk about potential in a video because it's something you can check back on in the future and see if things reach that potential. Like, I'm gonna come out and say a hot ass take that's gonna piss a lot of film nerds off. Spider-Verse just has to stick the landing with his third one, and it is the best film trilogy of all time. Lord of the Rings, mid. Godfather, the third one sucks. The Before trilogy, I haven't watched that one actually. This third movie has so much pressure on it because the second one's cliffhanger. I love the second movie, but I gotta admit that it's not a great standalone movie. Like, how am I supposed to act like I enjoy all these scenes that feel like setup for the third movie if the third movie ends up sucking? Which is why I'm not as mad as most fans for the movie being repeatedly delayed. Take your time, Sony. This trilogy has so much potential. Please don't fumble. Like, look at GTA 6. I've never seen anything with this much excitement, this much people just drooling to get their hands on a game, and the company not biting into the pressure of rushing it out. Which sadly means that unless it's the greatest game of all time, everyone is gonna be like, I waited over a decade for this? Not me though. I'm not even a gamer like that, but damn, this is gonna be so fun to finally play. As long as it's halfway decent, I'm gonna treat the day it drops like a holiday. But usually when people talk about potential, it's around a single person. Like, shout out to all the people that bought into the J.I.D hype. I remember listening to this man's XXL cypher in 2017. Despite me not having great taste back then, I loved it. This guy said, live life like a baby that was dead at birth but came alive to fuck the nurses. What is wrong with this man? Seeing him grow from mostly just a guy who raps hard to telling his whole life on the Forever Story is just amazing to see from a fan. He came so far. Another modern artist that I love to death is one that I feel like just doesn't get enough love, at least from the same people that love J.I.D. Which is crazy because I'll give my hot take here, I guess. She has just as much potential to be an all-time great as J.I.D. It's Doechii. Yes, bro, the Doechii hate is so lame. Is anxiety annoying? I guess a little. It's not her fault a song she made it in her room back in 2020 randomly popped off. But what does that have to do with where she is now? I can't name a tiny desk with better vibes than hers. The end where they're dancing together, something about it just makes me emotional every time. Her Stephen Colbert performance, 10. The Grammy performance she had, that might be the best one I've ever seen. She took a MF Doom type beat off of YouTube and made this wacky ass song that's super vulnerable and somehow made it a commercial hit. So much creativity already, and she doesn't even have a debut album out. I don't know, man. The only rapper I can think of that had that much amazing accomplishments under their belt without a debut album is Kendrick. I'm not saying she's gonna reach the heights Kendrick has reached. All I'm saying is all the amazing things she's done shouldn't be thrown away because you're tired of hearing a rough draft song of hers too many times on TikTok. Doechii has amazing potential. It's not too late to stop hating and get on the Doechii bandwagon. Not to brag, but I've been here since 2022. Spooky Coochie is still peak. We are in a rare time with all these things. A time where we still do not know if these things will reach their full potential or if we'll look back on them years from now as what-ifs. And in all aspects of life, what-ifs are one of the saddest things. But I don't want to be negative all video. There are some what-ifs where we got the best possible outcome. For example, what if Anthony killed Doechii and Top Dog was serving life while Kendrick grew up without a father and died in a gunfight? Or worse, Kendrick signed to J. Cole. Thank God we live in the reality where that didn't happen. Nah, but for real though, imagine Kendrick's label boss being J. Cole. Who knows if we get the Control verse if that happens. Which means no Kendrick-Drake battle. Yeah, no, our current timeline is way better. J.I.D, please leave Dreamville. Another one is Will Smith almost played Neo in The Matrix. The Matrix did kind of fall off after the first two, but I personally am in love with the concept of those movies. But yeah, Will Smith, funny guy. Fresh Prince is a funny ass show that I have a lot of nostalgia for. But I don't really like any of his movies where he's anything but comedic relief. The first Suicide Squad movie is still an abomination. He was the good outcome. But we don't always get the good outcome. More often than not, the term what if is used to live in the fantasy world where something sad didn't happen. Like, what if Pixar's writers stuck to only making movies when they felt inspired to make them? A lot of people don't know this, but there is this infamous 1994 lunch where these three writers got together and they were getting these amazing ideas. John Lasseter, Joe Ranft, and Pete Docter. They were coming together and were on a roll. Creativity was just oozing out of them the whole lunch. They were drawing these rough outlines of these characters on their napkins. This is where Pixar started, where they came up with the roots of some incredible stories. Toy Story, WALL-E, Monsters Inc., also Bug's Life, but, you know, mostly Peak. But this was just the start for them. When they made the sequel for Toy Story years later, they said the only reason they made it is because they had an awesome idea for it, not because they wanted to milk the franchise for more money. And it was a great movie. Same with when they made the first Incredibles. But then the company started focusing more on making money, and these three wrote barely any more movies. And then on top of all that, Joe Ranft unfortunately passed in 2005. After his passing, the other two only worked on one film, and it was Up, the movie that a lot of people like to call the last of Pixar's golden age. It's not like they have zero good movies since, but there is no semblance of consistency at all, other than consistently releasing cash grabs. But shout out to movies like Soul and Inside Out, who are my personal favorites since the golden age. And yeah, these are the only two movies Pete Docter has directed since Up. If we're talking music what-ifs, the biggest one that comes to mind is Fetty Wap. Nah, but the saddest what-ifs for most people tend to be artists that passed, like Nick Drake or Kurt Cobain. But as much as their music was amazing, I can't act like it wasn't. I don't think their existence had the potential of creating much change in the world. Which might sound like a weird thing to say, but the reason I bring it up is because my biggest what if in music is easily Kanye. I've talked about this before, so I won't go too far with it again. Instead, I'll just ask the question, what if Donda never died? Who knows where Kanye would be today? Not saying Kanye would have changed the world or anything, but all the impact people praise Kendrick for having, I think Kanye would have the same, if not more. I personally think he would be where Kendrick is right now, but he'd also be going off on all the issues plaguing our society today in interviews. Instead, we are in the reality where he is contributing to them. Wasted potential fucking sucks, and it hurts even more when you see sparks of what it could have been. I hope I'm not the only one that feels this way, but sometimes I fear these things about myself. I see the potential in myself all the time because I'm a pretty awesome guy, but there's also a part of me that sees all the potential getting squandered and lying on my deathbed with a shit ton of regrets. For example, I have terrible social anxiety, like as bad as you can possibly imagine. In my videos, I may come off as halfway articulate and as someone who has pretty cool ideas, and it's because I do have pretty cool ideas, but that's because this is me having a lot of time to sit here and really think through what I want to say. In social situations though, I have a terrible overthinking problem. My anxiety gets the best of me and I can't speak as confidently. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not like some Discord mod who doesn't touch grass or anything. I'm more like a shy dude who was only really loud with the close friends he made back when he was younger. So I think of the chance of this channel getting as big as I want it to, and I'm like, what if a YouTuber I love wants to collab? I would probably be too nervous to ever do that. And that's best case scenario, because what if this channel fails? I'd be forced to get a traditional career. I'd rather kill myself than do that. I cannot function socially in there, bro. I'd be depressed every day that I came back after work. And who knows, maybe when I can pay for a therapist, this will go away. Or all the adults that tell me you'll grow out of it the more you age are right. But what if they're not? What if this channel fails? What if the trajectory of my life is the same as Pixar's and Kanye's? Peaked at the beginning and then fell off. A week before my channel took off for the first time, I remember waking up one morning and just stayed there laying in my bed for like an hour. But this time it was a little more than just random thoughts. I don't even remember what triggered it, but I just started thinking of my life like a movie. For like an hour, I just laid there thinking of all these unique experiences and beautiful memories that I have had in the 19 years I've been on this planet. All the friends I made and lost from pre-K to now, all my memories with music, all the movies I've watched, all of the heartbreak, all of the vacations, everything. By the end, I was like, wow, I've lived an amazing life. But it also made me a little sad because I was in this terrible period of uncertainty regarding my future. Then a few days later, my channel started going crazy. I'm not a very spiritual guy, but even for me, it was hard to not make a connection. I was like, it's time. We have had a beautiful life and all those experiences have led to where I am today. This channel is the start of the rest of my life. But all that goes out the window if the channel fails, doesn't it? I'm in a very weird middle space. I'm either entering an incredible new chapter or living the last days of that amazing life I saw that morning. What if I die and at my funeral people just talk about how I had so much potential?